All right, everyone, Cancer season is officially upon us. And Cancer season is a water sign. Cancer is a water sign. So this is a season that is all about, restoring the well, kind of giving back to ourselves, watering ourselves in the areas that really seem to nourish us and sustain us. Cancer is a sign that is all about nurturing, but it knows you cannot draw from an empty well. So we also have to nurture ourselves. But when it comes to Cancer season here in the Northern Hemisphere, it's summer. We've got the summer solstice here, which is the longest day of the year. So this is a time when the days are long and the nights are shorter, which means that our social lives are ideally getting a little boost. But since it's Cancer season, it's really about knowing who those connections are that feel like home. So yes, it is like a social time, but it's also a very introspective time. And when we're socializing, we're just going to find ourselves probably being more drawn to the people who feel familiar, to the people who feel like family, the people who, just those are your ride or dies, your Cancer season people. But Cancer season, it does start off, very watery. You can hear a lot more about this Cancer season forecast I just did with Melissa LaFera of Energetic Principles. We went in. But here I'm just going to give you a little snapshot about what Cancer season is all about. So lots of opportunities for that watery, introspective, reflective, contemplative energy. But the end of Cancer season is where that pot really gets stirred. We talked a little bit about that in our Venus and Leo video, where we talked about Venus's upcoming retrograde in Leo this summer. And that is going to be a major catalyst for, dare I say, revolution? I don't know. It's just like that time where tends to be a little bit more social unrest, and people expressing displeasure at things that we would normally let maybe slide, That's Venus retrograde for you. And that begins on the very last day of Cancer season. So it still counts. And things really start ramping up at the end of Cancer season. The transits start getting real crunchy. We've got a Mars-Saturn opposition right there at the end. We've got a Cancer new moon opposite Pluto, which kind of sets the tone for the coming weeks. But the most part of Cancer season is there's a lot of opportunities for magic. There's a lot of opportunities for emotional connection, for restorative practices. And we'll break down all of those as we move through the month. But just one little piece I want to leave you with in this little summary for Cancer season is that the Cancer archetype is represented by a crab. It has a tough outer shell. And that tough outer shell is protective. It's meant to be protective. And so once you get into Cancer's realm, once Cancer says, yeah, like I fuck with you, like you're in my group, you're in my soul fam, then you will see those nurturing qualities from Cancer. But Cancer is also a very squishy, sensitive being. And so when they feel like it's not being reciprocated, when people are taking and expecting too much, or they're kind of spread too thin, then that's when we get crabby. That's when we get those pinchers come out. And Cancer tends to get a little bit more defensive and a little bit more grouchy. So Cancer is nurturing, but not all the time. So if you've got a grouchy Cancer, you got to tell them, it's time to go. It's time to go kick your feet up. It's time to go rest. It's time to go be alone. It's time to go just restore your energy. You can't draw from an empty well, Cancer, and you know this. But yeah, so Cancer season, we'll see that variation, that spectrum of Cancerian energies where there's a lot of opportunities for connection and closeness and care. And then there's also that crunchy crab that we'll get at the end. So stay tuned and we'll break it all down as we move through the season. But for right now, that's your astrology shot of the day. Bye. Thank you so much for tuning in with me today. Timing with Transits, my 11-week mentorship in Predictive Technique begins on September 21st. We're covering transits, we're covering perfections. We've got a blend of live and pre-recorded tutorials and ongoing support throughout the program. So if you want more information on that or you want to snag that early bird rate, head to my website, katherineurban.com.